Hello everyone, it's Tilly from Tilly Journals. Welcome back to my channel and to another Plan With Me video. I'm going to apologise, I've got a bit of a cold, so if my voice sounds weird or if I sniffle, I'll try my best not to, or cough. I do apologise, but that's life. We get poorly, especially in winter. It's coming to that time, and we've gone back to guides and rangers, so yeah, it is like perfect time for me to get poorly. So we are planning the week of the 15th of July using Love Yourself by, I nearly said Plannerface, it's not, it's by Caress Press. And I used this week for sort of the anniversary of me coming out of hospital. It has been a year on this week since I came out, and I just thought I should celebrate that with like a taking care of yourself kit. The foil bundle I am using is also from Caress Press. It is a mixed metal champagne lights and orange sparkle, which is super gorgeous. And then underlay wise, I'm using abstract shapes in lilac, matte lilac from my shop, which is, I think, just matches the lilac in the kit really well and brings out some more of that, because the kind of orangey tones are kind of the overwhelming tones of the kit, so I feel like that brings the purple in a bit more, which is super cute. I don't think I'm doing anything of particular interest with the base. Wednesday and Saturday and Sunday both have day extenders, and yeah, that's kind of where we're at. So I will get into the books I read this week. I have like somehow got way faster at Plan With Me's. I'm speeding them up exactly the same as I always have done. They've always been like closer to half an hour, but now they're like 16 to 18 minutes, and I don't know what I've done differently. I don't know whether I'm like just more on it. I know my kit's a bit better and like I know how I work, but yeah, I've definitely got faster at laying down my Plan With Me's. But yeah, so this week I finished 3 books, 2 audiobooks and 1 physical book. The first audiobook was The Subtle Knife. I've talked about the His Dark Materials trilogy a lot on here. I am like basically pretty much constantly I'm listening to one of the His Dark Materials books, because they're kind of like my comfort read, and I listen to something when I fall asleep, and that tends to be what I'm listening to when I fall asleep, but then sometimes I also listen to them outside of those times. So yeah, this week I finished The Subtle Knife, which is the middle book. Essentially, the long and the short of it is Lyra, who we met in the first book, meets Will, who is new in this book, and they basically get to know each other and go to try and find Will's father. After a little bit of back and forth. So this is like it's technically a middle grade fantasy series, but it's quite dark for a middle grade. The Lyra and Will are sort of pre-puberty, but other than that, like, the themes are quite dark, and I think it's a good series for adults as well as kids, so highly recommend. And it's one of my favourite books I go back to time and time again. The next book I read was a You and Me on Vacation. So this was actually a reread for me. If you saw last week's Plan With Me, you'll see that I read Happy Place by Emily Henry, and I got from Happy Place what, like, I feel like most people did from You and Me on Vacation, but I hadn't really enjoyed You and Me on Vacation when I read it the first time. So I made the decision to reread it to see like whether it was better than I remembered. So I know that's a bit of like a random thing to do, but I wasn't sure whether I'd just been in a bit of a reading rut. The answer is, in short, yes, I was in a bit of a reading rut. So I'm glad I reread it, because I really enjoyed it this time, which is a bit different, but yeah, so last time I read it I gave it 2 stars, so then I upped it to 4 stars this time. If this had been my first read, I'd have probably given it more than 4 stars, but because I'd already read it and given it 2, I didn't feel like I could give it more than 4 stars. So essentially, I'm going to stop blabbering. This follows 2 friends, and I'm trying to double check their names because my memory is horrendous. There we go, I've got it. This follows 2 friends, Poppy and Alex, who have started 10 years ago going on holidays together every summer. Then on one of their trips, something goes wrong and they stop speaking for 2 years. 2 years later, Poppy reaches out and they agree to go away one more time. Will this summer be the summer they finally fall in love, or will it be a complete disaster? So, my updated review on this is that I was heavily depressed at the time of writing my last read, and I think I was a bit overdosed on romances to try and cheer myself up, and so this just felt blah, another romance, good. So, yeah, I had been unfair before. So, I loved watching Alex and Poppy grow over the 12 years that the book is set. Emily Henry really grasped that, like, growth you do from early university to adulthood, and, like, the amount you change in those years is actually ridiculous. Like, the person you go to university as is not the person you leave university as, and is not the person you are a few years after working. There is a miscommunication trope in this, which is never my favourite, but, like, you can at least understand why the miscommunication happens in this book. Me and my husband were best friends before dating, so that scary leap from, like, friends to lovers is really terrifying, and it's perfectly encapsulated in this book. Yeah, so that's kind of how I felt about it. I thought it was a really good read, and I'm glad I reread it and gave it another chance. So the last book, which I better move on because I'm blabbering today, is The Night of the Party by Anna Lou Weatherly. This is another Detective Dan Riley book. If you've been following me for a while, you know I've been, like, slowly listening to all of them. I'm actually taking a bit of a pause because I've got, like, a million reading challenges I'm trying to, like, complete at the moment. So yeah. So Detective Dan Riley's back. He is investigating the disappearance of a young girl, Evie, who's gone missing and is then found dead. As he investigates, it turns out nearly everyone has a secret to hide, and Evie's life may not have been quite what it seemed to her family. I wrote this review quite a while after I finished it, and I gave it 3.5 stars, and I don't remember, and I remember a lot of this book and I enjoyed it, so I don't know why I only gave it 3.5, but then looking at my planner, I gave it 4 in my planner, so maybe it should be a 4-star. So yeah, there's not a lot of Dan Riley in this book. It's a lot more about the characters, and particularly there's a lot of flashbacks to Evie and Evie's life before her murder. Yeah, I knew there was a lot more than meets the eye to Evie, and I wasn't surprised by all of Zora's revelations, but some of them I was like, oof. The very ending twist is excellent. Like, I kind of saw it coming, but I've read quite a lot of thrillers and mysteries, and I was like, yes, this is perfect. And the way Riley knew about it was fantastic. So yeah, it's very twisty and turny. It's a good mystery. I would really recommend this. I am actually going to sit here and change my review to 4 stars because I don't think 3.5 is fair. So yeah, and that is it for the books that I read this week. So let me get into the day by day. I'm just putting down the last few boxes for Saturday and Sunday, and then my filming past Tilly will be up to the day by day as well. So in July, I was trying really hard to do 3 workouts a week, and I did a workout on the Monday. When I come back from a workout, I was trying to go for a walk as A, my cool down, and B, to get my steps in, and it was working quite well. Then I worked on guide prep for the murder mystery that we were doing the following night. I sort of planned this whole thing. So essentially, there was like a mixture of a murder mystery, like dinner that you'd go to. So there was a story and characters to talk to and stuff like that. But there was also like sciencey evidence to follow and different science experiments for them to do. So it was a lot of fun. And a couple of the girls said it was their favourite night of the term. And I was like, yes, I put so much work into this, so I'm glad. The other leaders were quite impressed. I'd made up the whole thing. So I was quite pleased with that. After I was working on that, I went to CBT. I will talk a bit more about CBT at some point, but I don't feel like I've got the time in this video, so I'm not going to. But essentially, I was finding it really helpful, but unfortunately it's had to sort of end slightly prematurely because my therapist is moving on to a different team. So that's kind of the long and the short of it. I feel like just when we were going to make some really good progress, he's moved on and it's finished. And with one thing and another, I I'm not going to have further going to therapies right now, so it's just feeling a bit bleh. Then I did some reading, did some more prep for the murder mystery, and then was watching some Once Upon a Time. And now, filming Tilly has caught up with talking Tilly, so she better talk faster. Then on the Tuesday, I was at work. I do work Tuesdays. I got an email thanking me from a patient's wife who had had some problems during his admission with various things and was a bit worried, but found my communication really good, so like sent like a thank you, which I thought was very sweet. Then I did some more prep for the murder mystery. Then it was time for the actual murder mystery at Guides. As I've already said, the guys really enjoyed it. Then we watched some Once Upon a Time, and I read some You and Me on Vacation before bed. On to Wednesday, I went for another bike ride as my workout. Then I did a planning call with Sophie, my bestie. We're trying to do these because we are long distance besties, and yeah. I then went to my consultant appointment with my psychiatrist and had an increase in one of my antidepressants. I was on a very low dose of this to try and help with my sleep, but we decided it was time to up it to an antidepressant dose because I wasn't doing so great. And I am doing a lot better now than I was at this point, which is nice, but yeah. After that appointment, I was just a bit in my feelings. I was like, ugh, you know? We did some shopping. We went to like B&M and stuff, which there is, sorry, yeah, I'm just yawning at you. There's like a B&M and a lot of that sort of store near my, the hospital my CMHT work out of, but that's like an hour from our house, so yeah, I went to that. Then came home and did some tidying, went on a walk to get my steps in, read some more of my book, You and Me on Vacation, watched Once Upon a Time, and by the evening I was just feeling really lethargic and really couldn't be bothered with anything, so yeah, we went for that. Here I'm realising I put the wrong script down, and I'm like, oh no. So there we are, just repairing that. I don't remember doing that at all, but anyway. On to Thursday, I was back at work. This is really weird because I was still working on medicine at this point, and I just, like, it feels like I've been on ENT forever, even though it's just been like 2 months, not even 2 months, like, yeah, 6 weeks, 7 weeks. Anyway, I was at work, and then it was really busy and stressful, so I just marked that I wasn't very stressed out. Came home and went for a walk. It was way too hot. Especially on my walk. I get really hot when I'm doing minimal exercise, partly because of the medication I'm on, but yeah, I was just way too hot. But then I decided to sit outside and read anyway. I must have finished You and Me on Vacation the previous day because I'd started reading The List, which I'll talk about in next week's Plan With Me if you want to hear about that. Then we watched some Once Upon a Time, and I did some planning in my off-camera planner just as like some little downtime. I was trying at this point to have a bit of downtime every day. I still am, but I'm not like scheduling it quite as like accurately, but I'm trying to make sure I do at least one thing for myself every day. On to Friday, I was again at work, then I came home and went for a walk, and then read in the garden in the sun again, which was again reading The List. I then did my nails for the weekend. I do like to have fake nails on at the weekend because I can't have them on for work, which is why I always wear fake nails in my videos. Which my nails are from Charmeleon Claws, who is actually a good friend, and I fully recommend her service, like I would even if she wasn't a friend. Anyway, then I put some stickers down in my journal, watched some Once Upon a Time, and did some more memory planning. On to Saturday, first things in the morning I filmed a Plan With Me. I was still trying to catch up from like all my Florida spreads and getting behind at this point. I still kind of am, to be fair. I'm still like 5 weeks behind, which is not that behind, but it's behind enough. We then had some news about our neighbours. They were pregnant, and unfortunately they got some bad news and sort of had a termination for medical reasons, which was really rubbish for them. Their fetus tested positive for a rare genetic disorder that has a really high mortality rate, so they decided rather than probably have a late miscarriage / stillbirth or a child die in their first year of life to have a medical termination, and that was really rough for them, and I felt so sorry for them, and I was really sad because yeah, they've struggled with trying to conceive, so yeah. So I decided to look after myself a bit and did some jigsaw and watched some Once Upon a Time. Then I worked on my portfolio a little bit. I felt better enough to do a bit more filming. Me and my husband decided to eat dinner outside because it was lovely weather. I went for a walk, watched Once Upon a Time, and then read some of my book, The List. I'm just trying to speed through the rest of it now because I didn't want to rush that bit about my neighbour, but I am, yeah. Anyway, on to Sunday, I did some more filming of Plan With Me's. I was trying to film, or still am trying to film a video every day I'm not at work, except Wednesdays because I don't have nails on a Wednesday. Anyway, I then went for lunch with my friend Kate, who is actually also pregnant. There's lots of pregnancies in my life at this point. Like, I had 3 friends that were pregnant. So yeah, I went for lunch with Kate and we talked about their baby. Came back and did some planning time and watched the Once Upon a Time. I was struggling with my mood, so I went to bed and had a bit of a lie down, which helped a little bit, and I ended up taking a nap. Did some jigsaw to try and cheer myself up, as I've said. Then I went for a walk. Me and Soja went together and we decided to pop into the Market Tap, which is our favourite local pub, and my brother actually manages it. So we went there and then we came home and watched them Once Upon a Time. And that is it for this week and this Plan With Me. It was obviously a very mixed week. It was nice to see my friend, but obviously the news about our neighbour was really, really sad. We are quite close to our neighbour. Here is that spread. I'm showing the foil wiggle and all that kind of jazz, and I'm going to show it under different light as well, just to show off that sparkle. Thank you for watching, comment, like down below, all that kind of jazz, and I'll see you next time. Bye!